Hey, sisters, I'm so glad you're here. I wanted to send a quick little message here before we started this episode, just to share with you how much I used to struggle when it came to following through and really committing to myself. I used to go into this mindset where I didn't want anyone to really know what my goals were or how I was trying to be healthy. Almost like I just wanted to cocoon up and emerge this butterfly so that people could say, wow, look at you, you did it. But what I never realized was how key it was to invest in myself and have someone help me with the journey along the way. I was stuck being a serial quitter because I was never investing in myself and being open about what I wanted and why I wanted it. When I started investing in a coach to help me get from where I was to where I was going, that is when I always began to see results. At the end of the day, I had to ask myself, if what I want is to feel amazing in my body, if what I wanted was this type of success, what would I be willing to pay for it? That's why I wanted to remind you of before you dive into this episode, because right now I am taking on applications for my winter one-on-one exclusive hormone rebalancing coaching program. It is a 2-month program, my closest container where we work together. And this is why my clients get results, because we are working and customizing strategy to your unique life. And we're working on the mindset pieces that you struggle with that seem to keep you stuck. So swipe up, apply. I don't take everyone. We will have a conversation first to make sure it's a fit for you. And let's see how amazing you can feel in just 2 months from now. Okay, let's dive in.
What's up, sisters? Welcome to the Period Whisperer podcast. I'm Bria. I'm your host. If you're new, I'm so happy you are here. I'm your perimenopause and menopause sister, your holistic trainer, hormone specialist, translator of your female body. I'm a recovering people pleaser and hustle addict turned body whisperer and hormone decoder. And I am here to help you de-stress your body, decode what it is saying, become the CEO of it, and own your own health, energy, and weight loss again. This show is for you, the overwhelmed, overworked, underappreciated stuck woman who dreams of a body they feel strong, energetic, and sane in. The woman who knows that she shouldn't just wave the white aging flag and believes in a body and life of peace, love, and purpose. But you don't just know how to get there yet. So if you are stuck in your body, your energy, your life, you are in the right spot. Let's lean in and learn what our bodies are saying to us.
Hey, sisters. Oh, we are into January. How's it going out there? How are you feeling in your body? I feel like my Canadian accent just came out there. How's it going out there? I've been spending more time in Canada. I think that's why. I am excited to share some different perspectives today on the pod. You know, I have personally reached a point, in my own health journey where my hormones are healed and I am ready to take on, a weightlifting program to actually kind of move closer towards my goals. I'm 41, and when we reach these later 30s through and beyond, obviously, we know how important creating more muscle in our body is. It protects our bones, which protects us from osteoporosis. It's so important to keep us younger longer, because the older we get, the harder it is for us to, assimilate protein, turn it into muscle. And it's really been a very proven part of what keeps us young and feeling energized. So if you're like me and you're wanting to live and feel incredible in your body long term, you know that adding muscle onto your body is really important. And it just feels good. It's an incredible thing when you are following a resistance program or a body weight program. This doesn't have to be lifting major weights. It really depends on what you like. Any type of resistance, yoga, power yoga creates a beautiful resistance. Same with Pilates, same with bar. It doesn't have to be anything all that intense. I should say high impact. All of them are a little bit intense when I think about it, but either way, we know that it's such a powerful way to protect ourselves and even your daily life, just walking, carrying kids, carrying grandkids, walking dogs, living, all of that becomes easier when our body is certainly when it's been expanded properly through stretching and yoga, and when it's strong. The simplest improvement I've always been amazed by is just walking, like that bounciness, that feeling I get, and how effortless it is in your life when you're not struggling for basic movement. So here's where I am. It's a new year, a new month, and my hormones are so balanced now that I am able to take on something that's going to help me progress, which is going to help my health overall. But we still have to, it's not as simple at our age as just, hey, I'm going to just pick up whatever workout program I want and just cram it into my life. This is something I used to do all the time, and youth is very forgiving. So when you're in your 20s and early 30s, you can do that. It's not ideal for you, but you can just do that and your body will often respond. It doesn't mean it's easy. But when you find a workout program that works for you at our age, we have to support that in a couple of ways. One, we have to recognize that saying yes to something new does mean saying no to something else. And also, we need to make sure we're nourishing what we're asking of our body. Anytime we want to change, it does require energy, and the body will get that energy one way or another, either by robbing its existing stores of that energy, and not by just your stored fat. It'll rob the existing muscles, it'll rob your bones, it'll rob your mental energy, your fatigue, your brain fog, or it'll start to crave more energy. So you'll end up having these crazy sugar cravings, and we just don't want that for ourselves, right? We want to be able to support so that we actually get results. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make, and that I see in my clients often when they come to me and they are ready, in fact, to move forward in their journey and kind of elevate, their body to another level, is that they don't know how to properly nourish it. And those are really important pieces. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that today. But first, I really want to reiterate how critical it is that before you start taking on a new fitness program, you have to make sure that our body is healed. Your body is not healed if you are struggling with major PMS or major, hormonal symptoms or metabolic issues or blood sugar issues or gut health issues. And these all turn up and present in our body like we're not sleeping well through the night. We have inconsistent temperature throughout the day. We have inconsistent energy throughout the day. We're needing caffeine to get through the day. We have brain fog. We're seeing our skin break out anywhere on our body. We have digestive issues and bloating. We're not having regular bowel movements. These are all signs and whispers and screams from our body that it is not healed. So before you dive into leveling up and elevating your body into that next piece, you have to heal it, because a body that is in chaos or that is struggling with any of these hormonal dysfunctions or any of these metabolic or system dysfunctions cannot do the basic physiological things that it needs to do. It cannot get pregnant, not that most of us are trying to do that right now, but it cannot metabolize hormones properly, so it's going to make your perimenopause worse. It cannot lose weight and burn stored fat. It cannot build muscle. It cannot fight diseases. So there's so many things it cannot do. And by adding on something new to it without healing it, you will only make it worse. And that's really hard, as you guys know, because it plays on our mind as women, right? It plays with our confidence. If we're putting effort out into something and not only is it not working, but it's taking us backwards, things get harder and harder and harder, and we start to really suffer with our confidence and our self-worth. So before you go diving into anything, you have to heal. And that is why I offer my exclusive one-on-one 2-month coaching program. That is what we do. We spend part 1 is really healing your body. Part 2 is figuring out what's getting in the way mindset wise and lifestyle wise of you healing your body. So it's creating that strategy and then diving into the mindset. And then part 3 is creating a new strategy and new mindset that's going to allow you to move forward in this new body before you dive into adding on a new workout program. So whether you do want to add muscle or whether you just recognize that feeling better in your body requires you to put effort into it, you know that whether you're 35 or 55 or 65 or 45, you know that this is going to be an important part of what you do. We have to prioritize our health in here. That's why, and I know you care about that, otherwise you wouldn't be on this podcast. So if you're here because you are struggling hormonally, we need to heal that first. And that is why we do that in the coaching. I want you to make sure you swipe up and you apply now. Of course, I do have my other programs and courses if you prefer self-paced, and I have some exciting things coming down the pipeline. But this very well may be the last time I'm taking on one-on-one clients at this capacity because I have some other exciting things I'm starting to work on. So swipe up, apply. It doesn't mean that you're going to commit to anything. We're going to hop on a call and better understand where you are, where you're going, and I can walk you through the different ways that I can help. But for now, I do want to walk you through, if you are in this place where you're not in hormonal chaos, where your metabolism is working really well, where you're not suffering, but maybe you just need that clear direction and support to move to the next level by adding some muscle or adding in some good fitness into your life, and you want to know how to support that. That's what I want to share with you today, is what I'm doing. So for me, I like to really look at committing to 60 days, at least 60 days. 90 is great, but 60 days seems to be a nice bite-sized amount at this time of the year, where we're going to actually see change in the body. And at our age, what's really important is that you're mixing up a good amount of both resistance training and expansion, right? People get really caught up in thinking, okay, I want to lift these weights, I want to lift heavier weights, but our strength is always limited by how flexible we are. And of course, our flexibility is so critical as we age, right? It's also it works along with the muscle to protect these joints, and to allow us to even just turn our head, behind our shoulder to do simple things like checking blind spots, or if we fall or trip, to catch ourselves, to have that finesse to be able to do so. So my first tip for you is making sure that you are finding a workout program. And if you want my workout program or the ones that I love, I've been following the same workout program that I either do at home or I do at a gym for over 12 years. It's entirely how I've built my body fitness wise. So if you want those, I think you can grab it from the shop on my website, or just send me a DM and I'll let you know which ones I follow that I absolutely love. But you want to look for a program that's, 4 to 5 times a week that incorporates both resistance, right? Strength building, as well as expansion. Okay. On top of that, we want to make sure we're still creating time in our life for basic movement like walking. If you are in my age box and you are not able to carve out just 30 minutes a day for walking, and look, you might be someone who's on your feet all day and moving a lot, like if you're a nurse, or maybe a phys ed teacher, or there's a lot of different careers out there where you have to move a lot. If you're already doing that, you don't need to add that in. But if you're like me and you live a pretty sedentary lifestyle because you work at a computer, or you're in meetings a lot, or you're strategically building, then you need to consciously move your body every single day. So on top of your 5 workouts, you want to make sure you are getting out for a walk. I know a lot of you guys have dogs. Your dogs need to be walked once or twice a day, especially if they're medium or large dogs. So making sure that you've added that into your life. Now, another thing that's really important to recognize that I always think about as I head into this time of growth for myself is remembering that just because we're adding something in doesn't mean the rest of our life can stay the same. I know I talked about this on a previous episode, but I used to just want to cram this whole new plan of life into the existing life that I have. And it's a recipe for failure. We only have so much time in a day. And because even though fitness and healthy nutrition will in the end provide better energy for you, when we're trying to do new things, it does come at an opportunity cost of energy because our brain is going to fight this change, right? And our body is fighting this change. So until these new movements and this new way of eating, are more habitual for us, we have to make sure that we're removing other aspects of our life in order to incorporate for that. So whether that's, sharing your goals with your partner so that you can get a little extra time and space in there, whether it's finally asking your kids to step up and make sure that they're cleaning the rooms or helping around the house, whatever it is for you, you do need to say no to some things so that you can say yes to you. And I would argue that we should be doing this always. Why should we be saying yes to anyone else before we're saying yes to ourselves? You and I both know that we will have more to give the world if we feel good in our body. And the only way we can do that is by saying yes to ourselves. So that's number two. Or I guess number three. One, you want a program that considers resistance as well as expansion. Two, you want to have some regular movement in there. And all of these things are very supportive to our hormones, right? We're making sure that our hormones are being supported, our metabolism, our gut health, which are all linked together, our blood sugar are being supported as we attempt some change. Because do not forget, when you're in these perimenopause years, we're battling a hormone imbalance that's very natural, right? We're moving from being reproductive to not reproductive, and that is a shift, and that is also requiring energy. So we really have to support this journey. Okay, and then step 4 is our nutritional support. So listen, I used to work out really hard and then just eat whatever I wanted. And although that can work for some people, we end up paying the piper for it somewhere else along the line, but it doesn't. At our age, it actually starts to suck energy out of us, right? We have to make sure that if we're going to ask more of our body to change in a certain way, more than that regular daily movement, that our nutrition is on. Otherwise, you are wasting your time. So what does that look like? That looks like making sure that you're, either completely cutting out alcohol or that you're not drinking any more than maybe 2 to 4 drinks in a week, that you're completely cutting out sugar, or that you're, keeping it again, just to a really minimal, 2 to 4 times a week. And by sugar, I do mean like starchy white breads as well as actual, processed sugar that so many of us are more conditioned to think about, like chocolate and ice cream and things like that. Okay, we really want to pull out the inflammatory foods, because when we're in a hormonal imbalance, what makes the hormone imbalance worse is anything inflammatory, any stress that's adding to our body. So if you are continuing to eat, or you're struggling to eat in an anti-inflammatory way by pulling out these things, that is where your energy needs to go. Because if you try to push yourself and grow your muscles, which is causing a little bit of inflammation in the body, and you're eating inflammatory foods, you're going to throw your whole hormonal dysregulation into a further tailspin, and you're just wasting your energy and time. So that's, step number 4 there is making sure that your nutrition is supported. 1, by removing the inflammatory foods, and 2, by eating enough protein. If we're trying to ask our muscles to grow, we have to make sure we're having clean, healthy protein to support those muscles. So for me, what does that look like, especially as a vegetarian? I make sure that I have like a micronutrient dense shake once a day that supports me both with adaptogens, but also has a good quality vegan protein in there, so that I'm getting that. What most people don't realize is that we need to be eating about a minimum of 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram that we weigh. That's a complicated, I mean, you can easily take your weight in pounds, divide it by, 2.2 to make it into kilograms, and then multiply that by zero point 0.8 if you want to get what that should look like. But that's bare minimum for life. If you're lifting weights, you could be eating and consuming up to 1 gram per pound of body weight that you have. Now that's a lot, but that could be anywhere between like 120 and 170 grams of protein, which is quite a bit when you divide that up between just 3 or 4 meals. But either way, you want to be looking at probably a minimum of 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Okay, these things have to be prioritized in there to make sure our body is nourished and that we're not just, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Is that the saying? Okay, if it's not, make sure you send me a message. All right, and step number 5 is mindset, you guys. Look, I can give you all the strategy in the world. I can, but it doesn't matter if you don't have the mindset work in place every day to follow through on that strategy. It doesn't matter, what workout plan you've purchased, how well you've planned out your meals, how much you're walking in a day or you want to walk in a day. None of these things matter if you don't have the right mindset to support that. And the mindset piece really includes like that real permission to prioritize yourself. It includes, that real empowerment and presence of self. Like, are you taking time every single day to turn in and think about yourself and how you're really feeling, processing through any emotions and the struggles? And of course, perspective, right? We get really caught up feeling like, we got really caught up in this world where it's normalized to drink every day or drink every other day. Like it's a social thing to drink alcohol. And I'm one of these people too, but the truth is that alcohol is poison. It's terrible for our body. Same with sugar, same with processed foods. We know this. Those facts are out there. Science even says this. It's not just, what the frou-frou, holistic nutritionists say. It is very real that a lot of the food out there is quite poison on us. So we have to get into that mindset of what we deserve and what we really want for our body. And we need to understand that process in doing so. So for me, that's making sure that I'm carving out 10 to 20 minutes a day in meditation. That anytime I am having a craving, that my body is telling me something, that I'm starting to really think about, okay, where is this craving coming from? Is it a lack of energy because I need to sleep more, I need to consume better calories? Or is it that I'm stressed? Is there something emotional going on in my life that I'm not handling? These are the things that start to build up that impact our hormones that nobody's really talking about, right? So we need to make that mental shift from thinking, oh, this is all okay, I'm just going to do what everybody else is doing, to really prioritizing and stepping into the female empowerment and the body that you want and that you believe that you have. The body you're building today is the one that you'll have in 10 years from now. So if you're my age, if you're 41, I'm building my 51-year-old body. And I'll tell you what, I want a body that feels just as good then as it does now. I do not want to be 51, still hoping to live for another 30, 40, 50 years, feeling like junk. Nobody wants that. The last thing I want you to understand is this stat that just kind of blew my mind that I heard recently. In fact, who you hang out with, right? The people you surround yourself with, and I want to say physically as well as mentally, meaning the content that you take into your brain every single day, right? So through social media, who do you follow on social media? What podcasts you're listening to, what audibles you're taking in, what shows you're watching on TV, as well as the people you're hanging out with every day, has 177% higher impact on your health and your body than your genetics. So the people you surround yourself with, what you consume on a daily basis in your brain, and that influence around you, that circle of influence. If you're in a circle of influence where drinking is what happens every single day and eating bad food and, everyone's carrying a bunch of extra weight and feeling terrible in their body, that's where you're going to be too. You have a much higher percentage chance of being there than you do of whatever your family has experienced, like your parents and, the genetics of your background. So do not underestimate the power of surrounding yourself, again, whether it's with a coach, whether it's with, the right podcasts, the right content, the right friendships. And you don't have to ditch your other friends, but you do need to be conscious of the quality in being the quality out. If you genuinely want to be a woman who feels incredible in her body at any age, who, has patience, who, has strength, who has flexibility, who feels good in her clothes, who feels happy and spreads that joy around, you have to make the decision to be around those people and do what those people do. All right, you guys, I hope that helps you. And remember, this is your opportunity to swipe up and apply for one of my exclusive one-on-one coaching program spots. It is where we dive really deeply into you. It's why my clients always get results, because it is a pretty close container that way. So swipe up, apply now before those spots close out, and I move on for the year. Go be your best self, and remember to repair first and get your basics in place before you try to elevate up. All right, have a good day.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Period Whisperer podcast. I want to encourage you to reach out to me directly and message me if there are topics or things you're struggling with so we can address those right where you are at. And of course, if you loved this episode, if you learned something, make sure to share it with your friends and please rate and review it wherever you get your podcasts.